Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Review It Yourself. Right. This is probably going to be all over the place, but hopefully in the best possible way. I'm joined by the guys from. I was going to do it, but now they're in front of me. I've stopped. Yeah, I was going to do the whole. This isn't life, but I didn't want to take the piss out of their accent, so they're in front of me. I've got to stand. And I also didn't want to do one of those really, like them awful fucking training things where you go on training and with work and you've got to try and act professional. And they go, so tell us who you are and an interesting thing about yourself. But I'm going to do that. So, guys, do you want to introduce yourself, guys, and tell us, well, not us, but obviously my audience, who you are. Obviously, your own will hopefully know who you are. I hope.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm Alex. And there's not much else to say about that.
Oh, that was good.
He's a new dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is, pretty much his whole personality now, isn't it?
Yeah, who does dad stuff all the time.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
I'm Will, and I'm English.
Fair.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Not 100%
90%.
though. No one's 100%.
Any
Well,
Anglo-Saxon in there?
I'm mostly English. I don't know what else I would be.
Pot lizard.
Scumbag. I'm Luke. I am gripping onto reality. Oh, yeah. It was the last day in the office yesterday before Christmas. So we had a few drinks. So and I'm feeling a little tender. As any hangover past 30 years old is the end of life. And that's exactly how I feel right now. So
That's pretty good. I'm Josh. I'm also gripping onto reality, but
you're in another reality.
yeah, I'm in another
It
reality.
never came down.
No. Mixed up my Haribo phase this morning. But yeah.
I've told you not to pick them up off the street. I've told you not to pick them up. Yeah.
Yeah, never learn. I've done it 15 times this month. Yeah, I'm ready to go now. I'm ready to go.
Cool. Yeah, well, we've picked an absolute beauty of a film, which I'd never seen before until this morning. It's one of them films, I don't know how it passed me by. I just never saw it. And I thought, I'll always catch up with it one day. But it's fucking brilliant. I was really worried that it was going to be shit. You know, when people tell you a film's so good and you're like, oh, yeah, is it though? This is fucking hilarious. I miss films like this. I really do.
Yeah, it'll never be made now.
Don't you think it was Robert Downey Jr.'s comeback?
I think it was his best ever performance.
Yeah.
Other than Iron Man. Obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
Did he do Iron Man after that?
yeah.
No, he makes this after Iron Man. So Iron Man, I don't know if Iron Man was out, but he'd made it because in the behind the scenes stuff, he says, I just needed a summer job between this and like Iron Man 2 and 3. He says it's going to be a trilogy. So he doesn't have to do this. He's like already huge by this point, again. So mad.
Oh, that's mad because I think that's one of his best performances.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And American. He's American?
He's Australian.
Oh, he's
he's
Australian.
Australian.
He's playing an
No,
Australian actor.
In real life, he's American.
Oh, yes, he's
Yeah,
an American
right, yeah.
playing an Australian actor playing
A black.
a black man who got skin graft to be black.
And the best of it is, there's like,
And he plays it so well.
I think it was on DVD only, but there's extra content of him getting that skin graft done. And he's like constantly stays in character. And they've done interviews with like Ben Stiller and all the other cast, and he is still in the character.
You know he never got the skin graft in real life, yeah?
What?
You know Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
in real life, yeah?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, you're joking?
No,
So you obviously know he didn't, though, yeah?
obviously.
Oh, right, okay, cool. Sorry. I thought I had to make that. Maybe I'm behind, but I thought you thought it was him then. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
I think you have to explain that. Isn't he sure?
Well, maybe people have never seen it. When Robbie just switched.
But they are.
No.
Tom Cruise plays the other agent, doesn't he? He plays
Yeah.
What's his name? Loyd Grossman.
Loyd Grossman.
No,
Loyd
it's
Grossman
not
does the
He does sauces, doesn't he?
There's a sauce in the jar.
Couscous. By the way, good sauce, by the way. Because it's out of tin. I love an Loyd Grossman.
Is that what you want right
No,
You're the aficionado of Loyd Grossman. Nice.
Marcus got the same haircut as him.
But yeah,
Les Gross.
Les Grossman.
Les Grossman. Yeah.
There is talks, and I think it's circulated for many years, but there is talks that they're doing a second one. It's a spin-off for him.
Dad. Never going to happen now. I don't want them to do it. They don't have the balls to do it now. They don't. Like, Hollywood can't laugh at itself anymore. They'd shit themselves. They'd shit, like, Ben Stiller came out, was it like a year ago or 2023? So by the time this comes out a couple of years ago, and said, like, I'm not, like, it doesn't deserve an apology. I'm really proud of it and what we made. And like, because I went to watch this morning thinking, oh shit, because I tend to stay away. Anyone who hasn't listened before, and for you guys to know, I don't get into politics and stuff. I mean, I can like talk about it historically, but I don't get into it because who could be fucking asked? Because once you put a position down, it excludes half the people who you want to listen, which I think is half the issue nowadays anyway. So all that shit aside, I was thinking, oh God, what if I watch this and it's like I can't fucking I can see you again. What if I watch this and it's like, how the fuck am I going to talk about this? But I watched it and I was like, there's no issue with it. Like, if you use your fucking brain, there's no issue with what they've done. It's looking at how like stupid actors are. Like Robert De Niro, when he's in The Untouchables, he's in character that much that he makes them buy like silk underwear. So he's like, he can play Al Capone. And I mean, like, what does that matter? Like, yeah, go on, mate, go on.
You say that there's nothing wrong with it. Robert Downey Jr. does say the N-word.
Does he actually say it?
Yeah, and then the other guy, Al Pacino, the rapper guy, he goes, that is
no, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. The guy sent it to him.
Yeah.
And
then singing the secret themes from the Chips.
That's what I mean. Like,
no, you're right.
It wasn't done. It wasn't done in any malice. And also, you've got black actors. You'll have black, like you. Alex works in the film industry, so you know what a set's like with 50 people maybe running around. The majority of them are going to be people of colour or different races. Yeah, and they're not offended. I was like, the film would have been made. So the directors would have, the people at the studios would have been black.
Yeah,
so they've had no problem with it. So I don't understand how it could cause a problem.
I think it's the shift, isn't it, over time of like when it was made, people being all right with it, and then people further down the line kind of re-questioning it as things kind of moved and changed.
So what actually happened then? Like what happened in that time?
I mean, it's just humanity.
Yeah. What changed?
I think people like just have like a quick fire judgment on things, and like I think when you see something, you react to it, and I don't, not to get anywhere, but I don't think social media's helped, but I don't think it's the main problem either. I think like across the board, people just react to shit. Oh my God, it's disgusting. No, if you actually, when you watch the film in context, it's laughing at a guy who would go so far as to get pigment kind of some ridiculous pigment operation, which I don't think is possible.
Yeah.
And to look like, obviously in the film, they just put dark makeup on him and all that, because you see them do that. There's like a time lapse of it, and he stays in character. And it's laughing at actors who would go that far.
Yeah,
to kind of look. It's Daniel Day-Lewis. It's Robert De Niro. It's actors like that who like even Jim Carrey. Have you seen Man on the Moon?
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey when he.
And they've got their place and everything, but then they also need to be they aren't excluded.
But they are pushing the boundaries, aren't they? And I think he pushed the bound. I think he did push the boundary with that. But also, like Parker said, it's a sign of the times. It probably wasn't as risky as if you done it now.
But I'm sorry now,
you're risking your career.
I don't understand why. Where's that?
It's just the way it is.
Anyway, right. So speaking of like, would you rather? I've made a would you rather for you because I really like that. So I'm gonna like magpie it for this. So would you rather watch the entire 50 Shades of Grey series every day for the rest of your life? You can never not watch it. And I know it would take hours, but just go with it. Or you start in a remake, but you play the last. So, but obviously you only have to do it once. So you act in 3 films, but you have to play the last. Now you think, I can do it and it's over with. But everybody gets to watch that. They get to watch you being spanked by Christian Grey. It's there, saved on film.
You'd be so sure.
You'd be so sure. That's a good one.
Yeah, but for the rest of your life,
I'm 100% getting spanked like
that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't mind 50 Shades of Grey. I mean,
but you fucking would by the time you're 8.
I've got a whole theory, and I think me and you've spoken about this more than once. I've got a whole theory about how it's so that film is so detached from reality of what would really happen in that situation, that it's like a rabbit hole.
It's like
the way Christian Grey he acts. We spoke about this, didn't we? The way he acts. So, like, I think there's one bit in the film where she's in a restaurant and he flies there and stops her. He controls what she eats basically, and he
Yeah,
does all
yeah.
this shit. And then he turns up. She's at a party. He turns up, drags her away, and he says, "Why are you talking to other people?" Blah blah blah. If you've done that, you'd be investigated for like gaslighting and abuse. But when he does, it's like really sexy. Like, oh my god, he won't let her eat certain things. Like, snaps her.
Yeah.
What? So I do that, and I get 8 months restraining order. But he does it, and it's like, it's because he's a multi-billionaire. He picked her up, not in a 2010 Mercedes. He picked up in a helicopter. And that's the difference.
Yeah, if you've seen that scene, you're right though, because I've had this exact conversation with people. Like that scene, I've only seen the first film and it was crap, barely a twinge, right? I watched that first film and I got dragged by a lot of women from work. It was dreadful. She's like out on the piss or whatever. She's out drinking with her mates, and he rings her up and she answers the phone and he's like, and this is literally, I shit you not, if anyone thinks I'm lying, go and find the scene, because this is literally how he talks. He's like, where are you? Are you out drinking? Are you drinking alcohol? And that's when he comes to fucking fly and he gets her. And you're like, if a guy turned up in a fucking battered old fucking Ford Mondeo and got out of his car and dragged you out of a club, as you say, you'd be ringing the fucking coppers saying,
that's what I mean.
like, oh, your lasses would be saying to you, oh, your mate's like, get away from him, he's a nutter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but no, he's got £1 million and all that. So
it's sexy when he done it.
Fun fact: it started off as a Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah.
Did it?
yeah, explains my yeah. It's one of the worst written things you've ever, because I love reading, right? Just get that caveat in first. My mum read them, so they were in, like, you know, when you're having it, let's just be, when you're having a shit and there's nothing to read, you forget your phone or it's charging. 50 Shades of Grey sat there. It is unreadable. It is absolute. It's honestly like, it's the kind of thing that if like your kid brought home from school, you'd go, oh, this is amazing. And then as soon as they leave the room, you go, what the fuck is this? Like, that's what it's like. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Like, it's awful. You wouldn't have passed that in GCSE, but yeah, it's a shocker.
The best example of how far can you push someone, but with money behind you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
I can do whatever I like.
No, because you're right. Like right. Anyway, like what are we talking about? Tropic Thunder. That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay. So, so I've actually got the DVD of it, and it's got the worst like blurb at the back you've ever seen in your life. Like the most boring for such a good film. Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Robert Downey Jr. lead an all-star cast in this outrageous comedy. When 3 of Hollywood's biggest stars head into the jungles of Vietnam to shoot a war movie, they have no idea how real things can get. Unexpected and controversial, Tropic Thunder is, quote, a knockout of a comedy that keeps you laughing, from the Rolling Stone. I mean, for what this film is, that is poor. Like, you couldn't come up with something better than that.
Justice, does it?
I have a feeling. I'm sure I read somewhere years ago, or I might have just made it up in my childhood.
Oh, here we go.
That when at the start of the film, there's a load of different trailers, right? So you've got like
Booty sweat.
Scorcher,
Simple Jack.
yeah, Simple Jack. You got Satan's Alley, right?
Satan's Alley.
You got all these things, and the Fatty's Fart too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure people when the film.
Oh, don't forget the best one, Satan's Alley.
Yeah,
Satan's Alley. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure people thought they were real films coming out because it doesn't tell you that the film's starting.
No, it is supposed to look like the trailers.
Yeah. And that.
But I think once you got to Scorcher 7, the unscorching you started to realise that it weren't real.
But they're the last ones, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a riff on, like, because I think Tugman's meant to be kind of like a Stallone, a Schwarzenegger after their peak. It's meant to be like Rocky or Rambo or them films. But yeah, you get like, it's like all the commentary of like America's favorite obese family, and you're just like, can you imagine this shit now? Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, no, like it's meant to be like Nutty Professor and that.
Nutty Professor, Norbit, shit.
Yeah,
that was shocking. That one.
Yeah, Norbit's an excellent film actually. Psycho. I love that film, Norbit. That is a brilliant film.
I've actively avoided that.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. No, it's so
Norbit,
funny.
Yeah, it's who is it?
We can't go on tangent here about Norbit.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. It plays like
you know he did, you know Big Mama's House.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of thing,
right.
but he plays the husband and a big his bird is like a big booty black woman, but she's like proper like long nails and like mate, it's so honestly it's so stupid, but it's so funny. It's so funny.
Then you get obviously Tobey Maguire has his little cameo where it's like, and I just love how they do it because it reminds you of like, it's no wonder it confused people because it's like 5-time Academy Award winner Kirk Lazarus, which is Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and MTV Movie Award Best Kiss winner Tobey Maguire, and this like religious romance. He's grabbing his rosary beads, and you just hear this quiet like terrible Irish. Where it's just like, I've been a bad boy, father, and you're like, like the film hasn't even started yet. You know what I mean?
The second darling, what a name for an asshole. What a name. Saying nothing. Hotter than the fires of hell, that is.
Oh my god, that do you know what? This film, just we've only discussed really, like if you tuned in now, you've only discussed the start of it, and already it sounds like the greatest film ever made. Now this film has gone under the radar so much. From start to finish, it is.
I fucking forgot.
Well, because I haven't seen it till today, right? So I think that like the issue is that sometimes people like hear about things like I had no idea. Like I saw like scenes in this, like the whole like whatever is it, the whole Jack stuff, which is clearly a riff, which is clearly ripping off from like Robin Williams' Jack film. If you've seen that, it's playing off that. It's playing off like Daniel Day-Lewis and off like all the films are like My Left Foot, Rain Man. No, like kind of, and even then, apparently the bigger controversy at the time, which is kind of crazy, was about how it showed people with like disabilities, learning disabilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was the bigger controversy, that people like, you're taking the piss. But it's making a point of like, why do they only make films about, so like films about people with autism, right? Why are they always people like Rain Man? You don't usually get it like 90%. Like, so it's like, looking at that, and also let's be honest, we all know actors use films, certain subjects, to try and get awards. It's known that they do this. They make these films, like, you know, they bring them out, and everyone knows the kind of, you know, they've even done it with like 9/11 in the past few years, just like having that in there. That was it Remember Me with Robert Pattinson right at the end, like a whole film. I've not seen the film. There's a whole film of like him and this girl, and he's like trying to get together, and then at the end he like calls her and says, I'll meet you. And I'm not making this up because it sounds really crass, but the camera pulls out and he's like stood in the Twin Towers, and it gives the date, and you're like, oh no. It's like honestly,
you was gonna say he's in a plane.
No, it's worse. It like, and you're like, so they've used it as if to say like, you know, not. It's a bit like in some kind of mad Titanic, like nothing could keep them apart, nothing on earth could keep them apart, and then you get him studying, and you're like, oh no, do you know what I mean? Like, you just wonder what they're thinking sometimes. We're like 5 minutes into the film to get to what the kind of the plot is. So they talk about basically a guy gets a soldier in the Vietnam War gets kidnapped to an NCA, like a Viet Cong camp. And then of the 10 people, soldiers they sent, 4 returned. 3 wrote books, 2 got published, 1 got a movie deal. And then this is the story of the men who attempted to make that film. And what surprises me as well, on top of like how clever it is in terms of talking about actors and how like the motivations and how like far they go, it's actually a really, really funny film, and it's a good action as well. Like they balance it like really well. Like the way it starts with like the shooting that scene, like it's real helicopters. Because you can tell, because like when they have the deleted scenes, the helicopters are still flying behind them. So I think there's very little CGI. So they went out to make it, which is good.
That explosion must have cost a few quid.
Yeah, Mother Major pissed her pants.
Yeah, that must have cost a few quid. They didn't. You're exactly right. They didn't skimp with. It wasn't just a funny film. It was actually. Yeah. They put thought into it.
Yeah. Ben Stiller directed as well, didn't he?
Yeah, it was perfect for what it was. They couldn't have wrote a better film, and they executed the writing of that film perfectly.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
And the people in it as well, right?
Yeah, the cast is huge. Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, obviously. Who's
the English guy? Who's the director?
Yeah,
his name's
Steve Coogan.
Steve Coogan. Yeah. They're big. Jack Black.
Keep that director.
Well, so this is literally just the few you've got. So it's Ben Stiller directs it. He does the story, he does the screenplay with a few other people. He directs it, he produces it. You've got Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., Steve Coogan, Jay Baruchel, Danny McBride, Brandon T. Jackson. Bill Hader's in this as well as Tom Cruise's right-hand man. And Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte's brilliant in this as well.
He's the guy who was in Vietnam or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, the guy who like
guys read about. Yeah,
it's not actually.
Yeah, it's the name full.
Yeah.
Major Forley. Yeah. Because he's lucky.
Yeah.
He's got two again.
Yeah.
That's he lucky.
Oh, just and it's the bit where you get Tugman walking around his house trying to eat sushi with like the little prosthetic hands, and it's like, and like why like but it's like it's not. This is what like people like you were about earlier about why do people get offended about stuff? Well, because you're not thinking about it. Like, think about it. It's not laughing at people with prosthetic limbs or disabilities or black people. It's laughing at the stupidness of actors to have to go that far. Like, and it comes up all the way through. And then, but when he's like, hold my hands, and he's got these like stumps, and I was like, I'm gonna like this film. This is my kind of film.
He has actually got hands, hasn't he?
The room guy, yeah. When he's doing the whole hold my hand, my legs are cold. Robert Downey Jr. looks at me because you're laying in a puddle.
Yeah. And he like, because he bats away like as they're making the proper film, he bats away this grenade, and he's like, hold my hands, and his hands are like just in bits. and it's a bit where it's like how like ridiculously serious it is because it's like Platoon and he's running and getting shot a million times, and then it's like, when we get back to the world, I'm going to teach you how to juggle. And you're like, it's so stupid.
There's literally no one's off bound to that.
No, and that's what I think. That's why I think the film is like a one-off.
Yeah.
You'll never like. Do you know what I mean? You're like, there's probably other ones from years ago that you wouldn't get away with now.
No.
Like, what's that one with the old man, the BBC comedy? He's like an old Cockney bloke, and it was a massive comedy apparently back in like the 80s. And he's like proper, like he's mates with like an Indian guy, and this was like.
Alf Garnett. You're on about Alf Garnett, is it? Yeah, Alf Garnett. Yeah. But you know, my dad watched that when it came out, right? Because you guys are all about. I'm 32, right? Nearly 30.
Yeah.
We're all the same, right? My dad watched that, and the same as like another BBC comedy, like Love Thy Neighbour, which had, if you've seen EastEnders, it's Patrick Truman. I can't remember the actor's name. He's in it. And there was him and his really racist neighbour, who's white, obviously. And then, but the joke was that the black guy was more educated and you were laughing at him. Same with Alf Garnett. Like, the joke was meant to be, you were laughing at how, like, racist he was, even back then. But people are like, oh, this is what people were like. No, people back then laughed at him.
How ludicrous it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But you wouldn't be able, you would not get away with that today.
But you've just answered the question there, though. Like, you said, they offend everybody. Well, what's more equal? If we're going for true equality, and I'm not taking the piss, what's more truly equal than just going for every different direction? If you take the piss out of everybody, because if you take the piss out of everybody but one group or a couple of groups, then you're in like that. Then you're making, it's the same as what like Seth MacFarlane said about Family Guy, and I haven't watched it for a few years, but he said, "Oh, we just go for it. We just rip everybody apart. We just,
And that's not their place as well, because they've been like strident and bold. They've kind of worked their way. They've got their own place there. Yeah, same with like South Park.
I always think that about South Park. It's like nothing's off.
Everyone knows what they're going to get when they watch South Park.
You can't be offended by South Park anymore because nothing shocks you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't really be offended. Yeah. And no celebrity can be offended because they're all on it.
And the people who made it, they've never like panded, have they, to someone?
No, fuck it, that's what we made.
They've been sued like countless times, but they were just like,
when they first came out, there were schools that like changed their names from like, because you obviously get South Park Elementary. Yeah. They changed their name. It was so. I remember when it first came out, when it was so bad. So you wouldn't get away with it now, but that's why Tropic Thunder is what he's like.
I mean, I think the majority of people would just accept a film like this now. It's the studios. It's how Hollywood and studios think normal people think, but they're not normal people. The millionaires, they're detached from the rest of most of us.
You couldn't pitch it. Yeah, you couldn't pitch it.
Oh, yeah, no way. No way.
No, it's not trying to pitch like Eyes Wide Shut now.
Yeah.
With all the shit that's going on, you'd never be able to pitch a film like that.
Is that the Kubrick's last film with Cruise and Kid? Is it Cruise and Kid?
Kubrick,
I've never seen it. I'll have to watch it.
He's unbelievable. Eyes Wide Shut. It's about like where Tom Cruise. He meets. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how he meets up with like some cult. He gets invited to some party or blags a ticket to some party, and it's like all the elite there with all masks. It's all like like ritual. Do you know what? That's probably why that is. Stanley Kubrick was the one who said, as I said many times, supposedly said that he filmed the moon landing.
Yeah.
And that he died shortly after making Eyes Wide Shut.
Which
He died
actually,
at like 60 odd, I think. He weren't that old. He just died after making that film.
if
Because it's supposed to be about Hollywood. That's what it's supposed to represent.
if people who are listening,
Hollywood taking part in things like that. Don't be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, if people are listening from This Isn't Life on Sean's podcast, didn't the moon landing actually happen?
Oh yes. I don't know if
Didn't
Sean
it?
knows the context of this though.
So Sean hasn't. I don't think you've listened that far back. So basically, we had a bet. Was it a bet or like
No, we had an
It's like a
episode
coin toss, wasn't it?
where we had an episode where basically we always out talking about the weird supernatural. These two are believers and me and that Will aren't. So we had a kind of like, right, we're gonna like cut to it.
Yeah.
And I think you got the right end of the stick there. How it was the moon landing was completely real.
I'm gonna check.
Moon landing was completely real.
Yeah, we had to
and-
believe that.
But we did have to believe that lizards
Yeah.
do rule the world.
So I go down the lizard theory quite a bit. So these boys have to always
So
agree
if you'd like
with
to,
me, and I have to agree that the moon landing was real. It was fake.
if you'd
Even
like
though I
to,
believe it was real.
you know,
See, you know what? Like I have issue. The lizard one I've never really looked into, but the moon landings one, I dived into the moon landings one, and I can take everything satellite pictures. I can take the biggest thing that irritates me because even the explanation of it, I don't. It's the flag waving in the wind. That's the one thing I can't quite get over it. I can't.
Yeah, that is a big one.
Oh, speaking of which, we should review the film. Have you ever seen Capricorn 1?
No.
Oh, if you're not, oh mate, right? It's a film from like the 70s. It's got one of the guys out of Law and Order in it. O.J. Simpson's in it, but before all that, of course. Yeah, but basically, what it is, it's the guys. It's basically they're going to Mars in a rocket, and just as they're about to set off, there's Sam Waterston from Law and Order, there's O.J. Simpson, and there's another guy, I can't remember. It's the three of them. They basically, as they're about to launch, they literally open the hatch and they're like, "Get out, get out!" The rocket's like, there's a failure, and they take him into quarantine. But then they send the rocket and let the world think that they've done this, and they say to the astronauts, "Look, we knew that we couldn't get there. The rocket's never going to get there. We can't get past this radiation or whatever. We need you to fake it. We need you to fake it." And they have this whole like moon, they're like not moon, sorry, whoops, slip of the tongue. They have this whole Mars set, and they basically blackmail them into doing it. But then like they escape. Oh, but it's you know what it's about. Yeah, it's good. You know, I mean, obviously, if you can separate the actor from their deeds with OJ, and you watch it for like, because I think it's like 1979 or something, or something like that. But it's a really good film. That's a good one. If you haven't seen that, find that. It's a good one.
Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, well, God, well, we weren't even 5 minutes in, were we? But yeah, and it's like, again, with like where the film just doesn't, it's like Matthew McConaughey, one of the funniest lines to me, because I just wasn't expecting it. Where he's talking to, Ben Stiller, and he's saying, "Look, like you've got to cry," because they end up arguing about how much the other actors are crying. And he's like, "Didn't your dog have leukemia or something? Just use that." It's like he wrote a list, and we're just like, yeah, we're gonna go off, every which way. And then like there's just like dry humor as well. Like Bill Hader's like, "A camera truck in London just plowed into Judi Dench. Trust me, Les Grossman's got bigger problems." The English get insulted. We get called limeys, which you don't hear very often. He's like, "You limey, fuck you, shit the money bed."
Who's your favourite actor in there then, or character?
I think it's got to be. I was gonna say, I quite like McConaughey's character, because I know he's kind of a side character, but I like the fact that he seems to be the only one with any kind of conscience, and he's like stood there with his like brochure of planes in one hand and like his friend's life in the other, and he's like, because nowadays they'd have him just go, yeah, I'll have the plane. But I like the fact he thinks about it, then turns up at the end, and because he doesn't have his TiVo.
When they're in the jungle and Ben Stiller's character gets separated or something, he manages
He's got a panda on his head.
he manages to call Matthew McConaughey, and then he's talking. He's like, "I've done something really bad."
Killed one.
And then McConaughey go, and he like closes.
No, did you get the lines like the lines class?
He killed a hooker.
No, what the Amanda line?
Because the exact line he says is only because I've only just watched it. He's like, I've done it. I've killed the thing I love the most. And that's when he goes, you've killed a hooker. It's okay. It's okay.
And then he goes, no, a panda. He goes, Amanda, don't worry, that probably wasn't even her real name.
Yeah, that is actually my mum's name. So sorry if she ever listens to this.
Sorry.
She won't care. She'll probably watch it. Yeah, no, I hope so. I don't know. And then just like some of the lines in there that like lines that you think I want to use that in real life. I don't know when I'll use this next line, but I want to. When Loyd Grossman's just like, my fist's going to be so far up your shithole that every time you have a thought, it's going to have to tiptoe past my wedding ring. I'm like, classic.
I think the Loyd Grossman Ludacris song with the dance moves as well.
Classic.
I think that's at the end. That is, yeah. Get back, motherfucker. You don't know me like that.
And not as much as do your job.
Yeah. It's a great character.
Seriously.
The fact it all came from him. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Huh?
We ad-libbed most of it, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's fucking gold. Always,
Yeah.
fucking gold.
Yeah.
He goes to Ben Stiller, and he was the one who was like, I want to dance. I want to have fat hands.
Yeah.
And Ben Stiller was like, well, there is no dancing. There is no, what do you mean you want fat hands? Like, I want to be bald. I want to have fat hands. Because there's rumors, and you can look at the names if you want, of like producers he might have based this character on. You know, and it's like, because it's so outside of like what you'd expect him to do.
Yeah.
Just hilarious.
I didn't even recognize it the first time I saw it.
No, it took me a while.
Yeah.
As it
You
was.
sort of go, no.
He looks like someone, but you don't know who. Yeah.
You've seen him being like
Mission
Collateral
Impossible.
or Mission Impossible or something, yeah. He just looked, he's the cool guy with the gun.
Yeah.
And now he's just some fat.
And a potty mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, because I'd seen clips of it. The whole like, why don't you take a step and fuck your own face? And you're like,
Yeah.
That might have been where I recognised it was him because it sounds.
It sounds like him.
That is obviously, his, isn't it?
Yeah.
you get so the whole film. So the whole film is based on Sergeant Four-Leaf Tayback, which is Nick Nolte's character who wrote the book. And I love the fact where like Les Grossman finds out who he is, and he's like, and they do the whole like stereotypical American thing of like, you're a great American, and this nation knows you a huge debt. Now shut the fuck up and let me do my job.
Shut the fuck up and let me do my job.
It's quite typical, isn't it?
Unfortunately, working in that world, that is what they like.
Yeah, I bet you.
That is what, especially the American ones. That is what they like. The English ones, not so much. All the English one care about is like making money and saving money. But the American ones are like that.
I know.
Yeah,
really. I bet you've seen it all, no?
I've seen them. That's a nitty.
Well, it's like you hear stories about like how people treat runners and how they treat people, and because the amount of money involved, there must be huge pressure. And like when there's pressure on you as a person, you go one of two ways. You either crumble or you probably go. There's probably a lot, but you go like the way these have gone, where you just like get this sorted out. Because I quite like that part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty true to life, to be fair, from what I know. Doing it for like,
you dream like shit. You're the one. You're the problem.
I am. Yeah.
But I tell you what I liked is how like clever it is, and it was definitely written by somebody who loves movies, because it just spoofs like the fact that Jack Black's character has like a drug addiction all the way through. That's taken exactly from Saving Private Ryan, because when they filmed that, the late Tom Sizemore, Jesus, he was battling drug addiction all like for most of his life, and when he got the part in that film, Spielberg said to him, "You'll get drug tested every day. If you fail one day, doesn't matter if it's on the last day, I have got a clause in the insurance," and they did have it, where I can refilm the whole film again without you in it. Yeah. So like they did that, so that like, and we all know stories of, I mean, I've look at stories we've seen of like, you know, like Johnny Depp and all that kind of thing about the substance that misuse that there is behind the scenes. Because if you've got a lot of money and you're not very happy, I'm not saying you just turn to drugs, but you know, you can see how that people get that way.
Yeah, of course it is. Drugs are only a problem when you can't afford them. Kurt Cobain said that. He said heroin's only a problem if you can't afford it, which is true. If you can afford it, you're not stealing. You're not stealing from anyone. You're not hurting. Well, you're hurting your family, I guess, but you're You're not doing things that you shouldn't be doing if you've got money to pay for it. And that's the truth. And it's only a problem when you ain't got
I
money.
do mean broad strokes because
Yeah, no,
you've heard for 10 years. They're really good.
Have
Have you seen Ozzy Osbourne?
What the fuck is that? Yeah, but
He has done where he.
No,
he is. He's not.
There is that one clip from the Osbourne though when the phone rings and you go, "Oh, what the fuck is that?"
no. Someone's blowing my room and stolen my beers away from me. Who's the beer thief, Ozzy? You're the beer thief.
Well, they have a tribute to Ozzy in there with the whole bat eating scene because the bat steals the last of his drugs. Oh, by the way, this podcast does not endorse heroin. I didn't think I'd have to say that, but I'll have to. I don't have to. Who gives a shit? And he like grabs the bat and he's like, "Stole my jelly beans," and it's like, oh,
Yeah, great.
so stupid. The director Cockburn, of course, blows himself up. We're like,
that's all my head, mate. Random pieces of information.
right, where were we? Oh yeah. Oh, and I love the way that they talk to like the young actor who's the only one who's been to boot camp. He's the only one who's read the script. He's the only one who's read the book. And he's like,
yeah,
that's the guy. It's like, come on, there could be a Teen Choice Award in this for you. And he's like,
he's I quite like it. He's good in
This is the end.
This is the end.
Yeah, good in Sausage Party.
Oh yeah, Sausage Party. Yeah, he's good in that.
oh god, yeah. Have they made a sequel of that Sausage Pie? Is
It's
there
a series. It's quite funny.
Oh, is it a series? Yeah.
What the second one's a series?
Well, it's not the second one. It's just a series.
What's it called?
Well, no, he does join in from the first one. He starts from the first one, finishes.
It's like out Sausage Party out.
So they get outside.
Yeah,
Oh,
they kill
right.
the humans.
Yeah, they kill the humans. It's quite it's good. Sorry, I keep telling him.
No, it's all right, mate. Don't worry. You've never listened to my episodes, you'll know what they're like. They're all over the shop. I did half an hour once and we'd got like 2 minutes in. Yeah, we're about 8 minutes in, 40 minutes in, we're all right. And it's like it's a bit where he says like where Ben Stiller's arguing with Robert Downey Jr. and he's like, "I can't believe you people," and he's like, "What do you mean, you people?" And then the black guy stands up behind him. He's like, "What do you mean, you people?"
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah,
I guess
I
you
like
wouldn't
the
get
fact
angry.
that, no, but they face it up though, don't they? Like they don't just have it in there and then they ignore it. Like he brings it up with him later. Like, what's the matter with you? You need help. Like, because when the other guy uses the N-word to him, Robert Downey Jr.'s character is just like, that word's been used for 400 years to keep us down. And you're like, this is so twisted. And the guy's just like, what on earth's the matter with you?
that's the theme song from the Jeffersons. It ain't true. Yeah.
Oh,
Such a quality film.
Yeah, great film.
I'll just slip in. I'd given up on the actual plot side of it. It's not a lot there, is it? I mean, we'll just abandon the plot version of it because I kind of knew when I'd watched it this wasn't going to work. I tend to use the plot to kind of move the episode along, but it's just not. It's best to talk about your best bits. I think one of my favorite lines. Well, there's fucking loads of them.
there is so many.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
get to choose yours for me is one of the best lines when he's talking about his son.
Yeah, like you said.
It's so funny.
What about you, Sean?
well, I mean, the funniest bit for me wasn't even a line because I didn't know what had attacked him in the forest. I thought, is it a bear? Is it like a guy dressed in like a cloak? Because I knew there was going to be a reveal, but I didn't know what else. When it was a panda and he screamed, I loved that. It was so good, so good.
I forgot about that bit.
But the thing is, like, a month before, he's done a photo shoot covered in pandas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it like flashbacks, doesn't it? And he's like, no, like oh. And I thought the kid was really good. The little drug lord.
Vietnamese kid.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They don't tell you where you are. You're either in Myanmar, which is what Burma used to be called Burma, or they're in Laos, like because they've gone that far. I just took them in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, I mean, hilarious.
Half inch or something like that, isn't it?
It's something like
What was it?
But That's how it works in them jungles, isn't it? Like, just because his dad was the chief and his Aztecs, like
There's a tall one, got 8 foot.
Yeah, that was good. That reminds me of actually one bit. I don't know if it's. I don't actually know if it's him that it happens though. But when they blow up the bridge, the kids like. He's like a little. Like a little rag doll, straight into the river, and then it gets out of the end. It's like,
I like on comedy values where they made him flip about 8 times.
Yeah, it's just scream as well. They put the little it's class. Because at first, because obviously the whole thing about his character is that he wants somebody. He's got nobody. He's lonely and all that. So he wants to. Because like there's a random bit earlier where like Peck, his agent's like, "How's the adoption going?" And you're like, "What's he on about?" And then he like, because I wondered why he'd thrown the kid. I actually wound it back, fucking hell. I wound it back to look at like to see what, and I didn't realize the kid's fucking stabbing him in the neck, and he's like, that's why he just hoys him off the bridge. It's just class. That
whole last quarter of that film is some of the best like film in history, I have to admit.
Yeah.
You got so many funny things that happen. You got Jack Black running into a heroin like making place, and he just grabs handfuls of it and starts doing it.
He just runs at that kid. One of the best lines is when he says, "Where is your farm?" He's like, "I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker." That's not shit.
Yeah, there's that on the left.
That is absolute fucking class, mate. That is one of the best lines of all time.
You got Simple Jack doing a whole like,
I gotta go. Your brain.
and he puts some fucking fake teeth in as well. For that kid, he's like,
Oh mate, it's unreal, isn't it?
And you want to think about that kid.
Half I was saying it.
Yeah, it's like
Sean, do you know his
it's
name?
funnier than that. wasn't it?
the kid.
Yeah, you know the chief kid.
Nah, I was gonna write it down, but I totally forgot.
The Flaming Dragon is the organisation.
Oh yeah, that bit where they ring him up and he doesn't realise it's like, yeah, it's fucking class.
His name's Half Squat.
Half
Oh, half squad. Oh god, I miss funny Ben Stiller. I miss when he was funny. Honestly.
Oh, that is class.
Yeah. Well, just to I'd say wrap up for the last few minutes. I think for me, I don't know about you guys. What I love about this is it. I love it. It's one of the films that I think the more I watch, the more I'll see different things. Because it's not simple. Like, it sounds simple and silly and stupid. Because a lad at work said, definitely a lad at work said, I watched it, I didn't like it, I turned it off. And the other two lads love it. But I say lads, they're old. But and then I think for me, what it also makes me sad in the terms of, like, people who make films now, they've lost their ability to laugh at themselves and see how ridiculous they are. They just want to pander. They just want to tell us what they think we want to hear, but we don't give a shit what you think. We just want good films. Like, we don't I think they've lost that ability, and I think that's why films are mainly dying on their ass at the minute. But yeah,
to be honest, I think actually that is a really good point. Not to go into it too much, but I think, do you know who brought that we kind of lost that for a long time? I've been asked to just do a film because it's funny. And I'll tell you who brought that back for me. I think broke the barrier a little bit in terms of not shock value, but like how a film is just filmed to be funny. Is Will Ferrell. Look at Step Brothers. Yeah, it's such a it's such a ludicrous film, but it's just what it is. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no deep, like, it is just a funny film. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
remember the last time I watched a funny film, like that come out recently, like a funny film.
Yeah, to be fair, the King of Sides thing.
Yeah,
with Pete Davidson. I love that.
It's good, but it's not a funny film. It's funny, but it's not a funny.
Not funny how Tropic Thunder is. How Tropic Thunder is funny.
It's not. There's the geezer like, that's funny.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not funny all the way through.
Comedy. It's not a comedy film. There's no. I don't remember the last time I watched.
Sean's to go to ours. Yeah, it was not a funny film.
When was the last time in the last 8 years that you'd seen a funny film come out?
As good as this, there hasn't been any. I mean, because they're all too safe now. They're all and even when they try and do a film like this, I watched that god awful. It was like a mystery screening, and I thought it was going to be Tenet. I hoped it was going to not Tenet. I hoped it was going to be Oppenheimer that they'd released. and it wasn't. It was fucking. It was a film called Joyride, and it was fucking shite. And it was like it tried to be like, don't watch it, it's terrible. It tried to be like a female Hangover, unlike Bridesmaids, which was actually all right. It was awful. But in the last since 2016,
There's not, is there?
I'd
Really?
struggle, mate. No, comedies have really like died on their ass, particularly films. I think.
Shift.
Yeah, but it's not side-splittingly funny.
No,
that is a brilliant film. It's not
The only film that
funny.
I'm excited for, but I think it's going to be shit, is Happy Gilmore 2.
Everybody's
Oh,
had his
yeah.
first to go.
Yeah, well, except for Jack and Jill.
Yeah, and
Shocking.
and what's the Hubby Halloween? They're the only two that are shit.
It's just.
It's hard. It's hard. You're right, Alex. That's a good point.
That's the only
There's a
thing
good
I-
point. There's a good film. There's a good film problem.
The fact that Eminem in it helps.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Eminem's in it.
It's mental.
Sorry, so got to pretend.
No, that's right. No, that's right. I thought Terrifier 3 was pretty hilarious, but only because I didn't know what I was walking into.
You know what? Me and
It's a great film.
Me and the missus watched that recently, and I was just like,
Yeah.
And I love all that. Not horror, but I love gore.
Mm.
But that was, yeah.
I went to the.
I don't think we've got
first
time to even unbox that because that's fucking.
No, we'll save that one. We'll save that one. Too much to get into with that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's clearly a massive recommendation from all of us. I just wish they'd make more films. I just wish they'd take a chance, but they won't because they'd rather pump out some more superhero shit that's the same as the other 800 films. That's what made me laugh about like the beginning with all the whole what's the films they make called whatever the film is. Scorcher 1, Scorcher 2, Scorcher 3. He's back again after the last time. You like that's what they've done. Like it's every superhero film. The world's in peril again. It's like
it's been done.
No one's asked.
It's been done.
Yeah.
They
Always
make-
carrying a baby.
but the Marvel universe is worth so much money. Like they've done well with him, and it's worth so much to them. That's
Not
why.
anymore, though.
And now just give you the opinion because it's like Star Wars. When are you going to stop with Star Wars as well? Because there's such die-hard collective fans every generation.
Yeah.
You can keep churning them out. People keep going to see them.
That's
I've made a film in 9 years since the last film, though. Nearly 10. Is it 2015? The last one. I'm not into Star Wars, but I know when it came out. But they haven't made so that they've in terms of like films aren't doing that well. Look at them. Oh, not to get into it. Look at the amount of cinemas that are shutting down. Like there's people. I just think the quality of films dropped, which is a shame. But go back and watch Tropic Thunder. I can't think of anything that's as good as this in the last.
No.
Like the 90s alone for like Jim Carrey and all that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best recommendation you can give it.
Yeah.
You can't give it.
Yeah.
It can't be recommended enough. I don't
No.
think.
No, it's a very funny film.
It is very good. 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Classic.
And don't let what you might have heard about it put you off watching it.
No.
If that's the thing, don't just think, oh, I don't like that because this happens or because of what Robert. No, you need to watch it and make up your own mind. That people are too quick to just ape other people's opinions now.
Yeah.
Just watch it and because you'll probably piss yourself laughing. Yeah, you might feel bad at some things you laugh at, but you're a human being. You're allowed to laugh at things. That's the whole point. If you don't laugh, you cry. Is kind of what I kind of go by. But
And also, if you don't like it, turn it off. Like it's not.
Yeah.
No one's forcing you at gunpoint to watch it. I just think there you go. You might like
I'm
it.
pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime.
I think it is. I think that's where I watched it. So.
I think it's.
Yeah. So definitely go and watch it because you can turn it off. Yeah.
but no. I mean,
Like comedy films. Oh, have you seen Brothers?
No.
That was quite funny.
Is it like twins? Oh, it is like twins. It's basically twins.
Well, I mean,
I
kind
mean,
of.
he's a midget.
Yeah, but is it? Yeah, but it's not. So,
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Well,
it's
we've
not the same
unpacked the
thing.
size fitting funny, but it's not. It can't be beaten. All right. Sorry, John. He does this a lot. Yes.
no, that's good.
I'll have to double check, mate. Yeah. Even these, I don't even know what they are.
Do you remember? Have you guys seen the film Stuck on You with Matt Damon and
Yeah.
Greg Kinnear, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, what, when
it's
it's-
connected.
it's like-
It's a
The
true
Black
story.
and Joint twins.
Twins.
Yeah.
And there's a
Oh,
scene where
that's-
like one of them sitting on the laptop, the other one's having sex.
Yeah.
Because they're doing funny.
Yeah, yeah.
It's something like this. But it's a true story.
Yeah.
I've been for years.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Well,
it's quite hard. Yeah, that's like it's. Sorry. No, it's good. I think we've like lost that being able to make those films that are quite heartwarming. It's like films like Jack Black did Shallow Hal, which I love. Like my mum
Yeah.
my mum didn't want to watch it because she thought it was like I don't want to watch that because she thought it was going to be all jokes about fat people. And then you watch it, and it's like, no, it's the opposite. It's saying the opposite.
Yeah,
like
that is a great film. That's a great film.
Yeah. Any look on the comedy films from the last 8 years? Because I just don't.
I
can't
even
think of any.
recognise any of these.
I think even the fact that we have to go through it and look.
Yeah.
Like the fact you have to go through.
You can't think of one single film.
Like even then you're like, what about this one? Like there's nothing that stands out in it.
Something that's comedy actors that don't play bad boys. You know, a new one of those come out this year.
Well, a fourth one.
Yeah, they're quite. Yeah, but they're funny. But they're
That
not.
slipped under the radar.
Yeah, but they're not funny. Like
No.
but
Even how bad films are. Bad Boys, which was in the early 2000s, was massive.
Yeah.
And now it's
Well,
just,
they've just yeah.
I'm sure they'll make it
come
Fast
out
and Furious soon.
oh yeah, I'm sure.
Fast and Furious.
Come on, now. Top up the bank.
Yeah.
So we've come to the agreement. There's no film released. That's funny.
Well, as far as I can see, no.
Okay, there you go.
No.
So that is a recommendation in itself.
Yeah, give up. You know,
Give up and watch it.
lost.
I was going to say what I was going to say. Then.
No, don't.
Go on.
No,
No.
it's not. No,
not
be
funny.
careful.
But I don't want to get.
Be careful.
I don't want to get.
It's not just us. It's not just us.
If you
No,
think
I
you
know.
shouldn't say it, don't.
Yeah.
It's a good rule. That's all right. I edit bits anyway. Not a lot. No. It's been. I've only recently discovered your podcast. I don't know, the last couple of months or so. But I've been really enjoying them, and I thought it would be good fun to have a chat, and it's been great. But I love your podcast. I think it's hilarious. It's the kind of podcast I wish I could do, but I like films. I'd be too worried about what I've said and all that. So I love it because it's what I want to be, but I can't be. If you know, if that makes sense.
I mean, the thing is, as a shameless plug, I'm going to do it. We know that when it comes to this one, we're not going to be able to be monetized, and that's why we open a Patreon, because it's the only way that it can happen. We will never ever be able to be monetized. YouTube will demonetize us. I can't see Spotify ever putting up with it.
But I always wanted that to be the way. I'm not gonna
It'll be a
not say
renegade.
something.
Yeah.
I'm not. As you probably know, Sean, just so everyone else is aware, we're not racist. We're not any sexist. We don't attack one group. We just have open and frank conversation.
That's what we need to say.
about certain things, because, like, do you know what I mean? You're saying we're gonna get monetized, like we demonetized even. But yeah, no, I just think that's what podcasts are for, open discussions.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. And from a someone who's I'm an audience of your show, someone like me who watches it, when it comes out, like that comes across like like the same with mine. I just want my podcast to be about films, but to just be a discussion as if you've just walked into a room and your mates are all talking about films. That's what I want.
It's talking about, isn't it? Like what a group of blokes, fellas, friends are talking about.
And film is like a perfect way to get everyone talking.
Basically,
well,
like in a corner of a pub, which is happening with everyone as well.
Yeah.
Every group of people is talking about something that they all find funny.
Yeah,
But they're
Right.
too afraid to admit it in today's.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that is
And I
it.
think it's the feeling that everyone has. They laugh at certain things they know they shouldn't laugh at.
Mm.
And they go,
But there's no malice in it, is there? I
yeah,
think
there's
that's
no,
the
and it's
point.
not like you're laughing at
Yeah.
someone. It's just like, it might be like your interpretation of a particular situation. Then you go, oh, I got that completely wrong.
I don't know. When we've had like women that thought she was Shaggy Bigfoot, I was laughing at her.
What are you?
I'm not saying it's 100% foolproof.
Make that clear. I was
Yeah.
genuinely laughing at her.
We're not perfect, right?
Let's go back to, that is how Tropic Thunder done it. They're laughing, they're making fun of a person with no arms, but they found it funny because you can sit there and do the everyday thing that we take for granted.
Yeah.
He can't do. And that's the funny side of it is, we're going to teach you how to juggle. We ain't got any fucking hands. Right? So, that's the sort of comedy we go for. We don't sit there and go, well, you got no hands. That's funny.
Yeah.
We find the irony in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And sometimes, unfortunately, irony is really funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one little thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you
No,
for saying that, Paul, as well. We appreciate that.
No, but it's right though, because too many people, not too many people, but too many, like, you watch podcasts, YouTubers, and they want to have the cake and eat it. They want to have what you say you're having, but they want to snip bits out that don't. Don't get me wrong, I'll admit it. I edit bits out that I might say something and it doesn't come across properly, or you edit bits out, but I barely edit now. And obviously with this one, you're going to stray into territory to be fair, I think anyone's listening to mine, so it's not really going to matter. But I don't think if I thought anybody said anything offensive, you'd say like that you've got to understand the context behind what someone's talking about. Like if we were all sat here just like throwing insults every which way, it'd be miserable, wouldn't it? But no, you're right, and it comes across. At least I can only talk for myself, but it comes across that's what it's about. You're not sat there like you don't walk in and go right. What subject have we picked today? To be fair, I just love the beginnings with the would you rather's because I don't know what to get. So, which is why I've stolen it for this.
I've got a couple. No, I haven't used them. I stole it as well. So I've got a couple more for our next episode. So I'll make sure they're good now. I know you enjoy them.
Spot on. So yeah, go over and check out This Isn't Life on YouTube. So go find those guys over there. They're absolutely killing it. You're listening to Review It Yourself, the podcast with the Sai. Film reviews without the faff. We're on Instagram. It's Review It Yourself Podcast 2021. I hate this part, can you tell? And we're on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. It's at Yourself Review. Yeah, that's about it. If you like this, let us know. Because if you're the one person in France who's listened to hundreds of episodes, let me know, because I can see there's one person in Paris listening and it's bugging me because I know you're listening and no one will reach out and tell me it's all right. So you must be trying. I can see now. I've got better analytics, but yeah. Also, usually we've got Sarah who's on as my co-host. She's from Cornwall, of course. So what was I going to say? What was the point now? Yeah, she's got her own podcast. It's Weird Horizon, which is all about the weird, the esoteric, Bigfoot, things like that. So that's probably more like go listen to some of hers. She did a whole side series on the origins of vampires, stuff like that. That's the lot. But no, cheers, guys. I massively appreciate your time and yeah, spot on.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.